New York Times be placed in the record alongside my remarks.
Without objection.
According to the Times, which had reviewed internal budget guidance from the OMB, the Trump administration would cut or delay funding for border surveillance. They'd cut or delay funding for radar technology, patrol boats, and maybe most crucially, customs officers, all to ask taxpayers to pay for the wall. Funding to upgrade surveillance aircraft, extremely effective at stopping illegal crossings of the border, particularly drugs, denied. Funding to hire new customs officers, denied. Funding for video surveillance with infrared cameras in areas with high incidence of border crossings, cut to, quote, offset the costs of presidential priorities, unquote. What an absurd proposition. Security experts have testified for decades that effective border security includes a variety of technologies and resources: drones, infrared sensors, customs and border patrol agents, officers, and in some places, secure fencing is appropriate. We agree with that. These were all ideas included in comprehensive immigration reform. That the Trump administration would cannibalize funding for these smart border security measures to pay for a wall that won't work makes no sense. He said he campaigned on it. Oh, no, Mr. President. You campaigned on a wall that Mexico would pay for. We're waiting. But again, to take away the things that are needed to protect the border for a symbolic and ineffective political gesture, there's nothing to this but politics. President Trump is fighting for an empty symbol rather than smart policy that will actually produce better security at our borders. We Democrats are willing, able, and eager to work with our Republican colleagues and the administration on smart, effective border solutions. As I've said, there may be a few defined places where a secure fence makes sense, but a medieval wall, which you can't see through, across the length of the southern border will not make us any safer. Walls can be scaled over. Walls can be tunneled under. There are, as I've been told, many, many tunnels under the wall in San Diego, some of which have not been detected. There is also the issue of eminent domain. The federal government would have to conscript hundreds of square miles of land from American citizens to build a wall. The administration still hasn't produced plans for where to put it. And of course, President Trump promised once again that Mexico would pay for it, not taxpayers. If you can read anything into the election, it was for that. The polling data shows that a majority of Americans don't believe the wall is the right thing to do. It's not responsible to insist that American taxpayers pay for an absurdly expensive and ineffective border wall, or else the government shuts down. If the president goes down that path and insists on the wall or shuts down the government, which he said back in September, make no mistake about it, a government shutdown will fall entirely on his shoulders. If President Trump can find a way to get Mexico to pay for the wall, while American taxpayers pay for things that really make a difference to secure the border, he should reveal that to the American people. But until that time, Democrats will work with our Republican colleagues on smart border security, effective border security, just as we fight to protect the dreamers. I yield the floor and note the absence of